Say.
Keep Ray's name out your fucking mouth. That's okay. What I put in there is just like points that you can see and determine if you think there's any value there. But I saw you're wearing your Golden Girls shirt. I
am.
And dude, and you've got the mug. I'm stoked on that. I want to get in on this. We've talked about it before. For us, I mean, we're both in our 40s. Like, Golden Girls was an amazing time. It was an amazing show. It was just funny for like adults and kids, I feel like. Like, I thought it was funny when I was a kid.
I thought it was funny, but maybe I didn't know what I was laughing at because I was so young. But
Oh,
like, I remember,
no, for sure.
You know?
For sure
But
not. That's what was great about it.
this is what's interesting, though. I didn't know this existed. Hold on, my cousin posted about this on like Facebook the other day. That there's some random documentary or something about Golden Girls that I had never heard of. Oh, where's it at? And then somebody also posted, they were like, oh, there's also this other one that's, about them.
There's one about Betty White that I told you about that's pretty fascinating.
No, this
But
was
anyway,
specifically
what made me-
about Golden Girls, and then there's another one that's about their neighbors that are in the same, like another show or something came out that's about the neighbors that were in the same like old folks like community. Like, so I don't know. I was just like, what? How do I not know this? And of course,
Yeah,
like
how
I'm
do you
looking
not
on
know
her
about
thing
this?
and I can't find it, of course.
Well, I was walking through the airport this weekend and I saw a gal wearing a Golden Girls shirt. Obviously, it made me think of you, but it just said Squad, and it just looked. It like made me smile because it had them all laid up.
If it's
like,
the
tiled
same
next to
one,
each other.
I have another one that says wait, is it this one? No, it says Squad Girls or Squad Goals.
No. Yeah, no, this one just said Squad, and it was just like tiles of their faces right next to each other, and it just made me laugh because it was a solid shirt, and it made me think of you. But
No,
anyway,
I love me some Golden Girls.
Um,
It's like where my smartasses
so-
came from.
yeah, I can see that. Now I'm forgetting her name. What's Grandma's name?
It's called the Golden Palace. I found it. Have you ever heard of this?
No, I have not.
So it's like some documentary or whatever about Golden Girls and the place that they lived and blah, blah, blah. And then there's another spin-off of Golden Girls called The Empty Nest, which was about their neighbors.
Oh, dude, isn't that where the guy's like a doctor and his daughter lives with him?
I don't even know.
Empty Nest. Yeah, pretty sure. Which is actually a pretty solid show too, if I remember correctly. But anyway, let's move on. Did
This
you have
is
a
more
chance to
important
look
than
at any
anything.
of the? I know. It's
I'm looking right now.
You, me, and two other people are really excited about it. I don't know if any. I don't know if those. I know the Golden Girls still kind of holds up, but I don't know about any of these others. So I would hate to watch them and be like, yeah, what a disappointment.
The opera thing is interesting.
First thing we. Well, the first thing we
did
got
you
to
already
talk
have an
about,
idea?
then we can move on to
Okay.
something else.
Okay.
Is fucking Will Smith.
Oh God.
Did you see this?
Okay, I did. I was like, I was accidentally watching it, like, because I was looking for something to watch on YouTube TV, which is what I have, and it was playing. It just automatically started playing that in the background, and so it was like I was watching it. I was hearing it go down with it, like, transparent in the background while I was like looking for another show to watch, and then I was like, wait, and then I was like, did he just cuss? And so then I went to it because it was like they kept saying that they were like trying to bleep it out, but it was live. Like I heard the fucking, and I was like, wait, what? And so like I went and I rewinded it, and I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? My first instinct though was that this was just a bit, but then the fact that Chris Rock cussed, and then he cussed twice, I was like, oh, this is
Well, but Chris Rock
legit.
cussing, he was like, it almost was still, it was still like shit. I think, don't they say that on TV now?
No.
And that's what he said.
You can
Man,
say
he smacked the
bitch.
shit out of me.
Yeah. So
Really?
But so here's my
Well,
my,
but Will
my
Smith
first
yelling
thought.
"fuck" at the top of his lungs
Yeah,
was definitely
no, and you could see his
an
face too.
indicator
Like
that
he was angry. But here's what, anytime this type of stuff always happens, right? And I'm like, when it takes over the internet, it takes over the whole world.
I think
right?
we're on the same page.
I always my first instinct is, are they that smart? Like, did they plan this?
Dude,
is this long?
We're on the same page.
Andy Kaufman like style comedic crazy thing that'll just last for forever, you know? And like, and people won't even know, and they'll like take it to the grave, and like people won't even know if this was fake or whatever, you know? And like, or are they just dickheads and it just shit happen? Because I think this about like Trump and stuff like that too, right? Like, he's made a lot of money, made a lot of businesses. He's not an idiot, but it's almost like he knows that how to create marketing, right? Like how to create a spin, how to piss people off and make people happy at the same time. And that's what marketing is, you know? And it's it makes you go, is he really just really that smart that he plays dumb, you know? Or like they're playing this out, it's a plan.
My hope would be that's it, and it's brilliant because it is fucking working. Because you've got people who are like, is this real or is this fake? I mean, it's still on Instagram, and what it was like, it's Wednesday. I mean, shit doesn't last that long typically. You know, it's still going on where people are just still talking about it. And there was like this fighter that broke down. There was a couple that like break it down. There's one guy that's like, it's fake. You can see Chris Rock flinching before he even starts to slap him. And it's like kind of looks maybe like that might be accurate, but then, you know, when somebody, you know, comes towards you, I mean, it's not like it's not that strong of evidence, but it's definitely something that makes you go maybe. But then there's this one that was funny. It was this like fighter breaks it down. He's like, all right, I'm gonna break down just what a bitch of a slapper Will Smith actually is. Okay. He's like, he puts his left foot out first, which doesn't make any sense when you're coming from. Anyway, and then at the end, he was like, he starts to fall, and if he wouldn't have turned around and walked off like a gangster, he definitely would have looked like a dipshit or something like that. It was
literally
pretty funny.
That's the part that I'm glad somebody, because I haven't seen anybody else break that part down. That was the first thing I saw. It was like a fade, like he was like fading away, slapping, and like his hand was already in this weird defense mode. Which if you're pissed and you're going to hit somebody, it's forward. It's not back.
Yeah,
and like
I agree.
He's going back.
I noticed that too.
Right? And it was just like, that just felt so weird. Not to mention he's like in all these action movies and all these things, so you've seen him like actually train and fight and do things, you know? So
I was thinking the same thing, which kind of makes you also wonder, Chris Rock never even like put his hands up or got defensive, which kind of makes you wonder like, okay, is this an act? But then like also, you know, kudos to Chris Rock if it was real, like he took a slap to a face. I mean, a pretty legit, you know, open-fisted punch kind of to the face. I guess it was more of just a hard slap. But he just kind of like, he laughed. And I honestly, I was like on Chris Rock's side here because like he just stood there and he was like, dude, what the fuck? Like,
yeah. No,
and then
what's also great about it is so hard, right?
Oh, yeah. And he only kind of barely fumbled when he was like, all right, up next. And, you know, but what's interesting is seeing everybody's reactions on Instagram or whatever. That's mostly where I live, is on Instagram in terms of social. But it's what I've realized is that it is almost purely, which I think this sounds really obvious as I'm saying it, but like it's just another data point that people like to think they're objective, and people as largely are just not at all. It is purely who you like, and I'm going to, even if you don't think it, it's subconscious, like I'm defending that person. That person was right. I agree with that person. Now for me, I don't care enough about either one of these, and I'm a fan maybe equally in different ways. Like Nicole, she like really doesn't like Chris Rock, and you know, she's more of a fan of like Will Smith, and so she was like, well, you talk shit enough and it's gonna like get you or something like that. And I was like, yeah, but learn to have some fucking self-control. Like, and I wasn't trying to be on Chris Rock's side. I just don't think that, like, I don't know. It was just weird. And dude, come on. Like, you probably it would be in everyone's best interest that you don't get up and go smack somebody in the face at the Grammys.
Well, but here's
unless
the thing.
it's
or
a
the
setup.
Oscars, the Oscars
or whatever. Yeah,
But
trust me.
Here's the biggest thing with that, right? It's like, I get defending your wife. I get getting upset about something that someone's gonna say, but literally every award show, the host's job is to roast celebrities. Like, you know what you're getting into just showing up.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
And so I'm on the opposite. Like,
and it wasn't even bad. I don't feel like.
No, it was because, especially too, like, she has alopecia, which she's made jokes on. She's made jokes about it, like, on her Instagram. She's like, all you can do is laugh about it. Like, whatever, I can't do anything about it. It's full, like. So it's like,
right?
How is she like totally fine with making jokes about things, and then like suddenly it's not okay? But I don't know. For me, it's just like Ricky Gervais or something would have said something way more horrible.
Oh yeah,
It's
so funny you said that, because I was thinking the same thing.
So I don't know. That part of it just, I don't know. It's like,
but you said you had the opposite thought,
because I'm a huge fan of Will Smith, and I don't know. I mean, I like Chris Rock. I grew up on his comedy and things like that. But like, actually, I grew up with Will Smith and Fresh Prince and all that stuff. But like, I feel like his YouTube channel, as he's like older, I don't know if you ever watch it, but it's almost like he's like very like deep and open, talking about like he's scared to die, and like he's like so scared of these things, and he like overcomes his fears and like does it like on his YouTube channel. Is actually really interesting. And I was like, oh man, I have such respect for this guy. But he's always like preaching on like this peace and just be happy and don't let things upset you and all that kind of stuff. And then does that, and then gets up and wins an award, and then talks about how he wants to be a vessel for peace and love and all this kind of shit. Where it's just like, what?
Did that happen before he won the award?
No, after.
Wait, which one? What happened first?
The slap. Then he won an Oscar and got up there and said some bullshit.
Yeah, that's weird. That's crazy. But back to the beginning.
You know what I mean?
I hope that this is a long sort of, because the Oscars. Sorry, I called it the Grammys. Whatever.
Yeah.
But
stupid.
I guess people. I don't know, because I mean, do you watch that? Well, you said you watched it by accident.
No,
but like, what are their ratings? Are they doing well?
No, they've been tanking forever. I looked into it. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, this would be so brilliant to get an award show back, because nobody watches them anymore. Like, literally all the headlines leading up to it were like, hey, the Oscars are tonight. Does anyone care? Like, because no one does. Yeah,
no one cares. I'm reading all sorts of shit. All you have to do. Oh, literally every year it gets worse and worse. Academies, Grammys, and Emmys and Oscars.
That's why I'm saying it's brilliant. If you go from no one's watching to everyone on the planet is talking about you, from a 30-second thing that happened, like, it's brilliant. Right?
And
it's like Kanye crazy level, saying he's fucking God and Jesus and he's gonna buy the planet. Like, it's fucking insanity. And insanity is what makes the internet blow
and
up,
apparently Chris Rock tickets sold out like immediately too. So
see, honestly, I felt
if
bad
he did
for
just
him.
take an unexpected slap in the face. Well, I don't really feel that bad for him. I know a bunch of people were like, I feel bad because he took a slap in the face.
No. Not that. The repercussions of things where, like, Chris Rock's like always like this like talking shit type of like, like comedian, right?
You think that's gonna stop him?
No. I feel like it'll change the perspective of people that are fans of him, whereas like almost like him looking like a bitch that like somebody just walked up and slapped him and then he just like kept going.
Yeah,
and like
I know
happened.
people say that. I actually commend that. Like, for you to take a slap and laugh at it is kind of. I realize a lot of people I've heard that, like, oh man, I wouldn't be a bitch. I'm like, yeah, no, I mean, he literally just took a slap and was like, he laughed at it and said, I just got just shit smacked out of me, which I thought was funny.
Okay.
If he had reared up and started boxing or something.
No, so you are the perfect person to ask this. Then you are a very calm, happy person. If somebody just randomly walks up to you and just fucking hits you in the face, you're just gonna be like, ha ha ha, what the fuck was that? And just go on with your day?
Depends on if I know him or not.
Okay, let's say you
if a random
an
person,
acquaintance,
I'm about to like
acquaintance
tackle
that
your
you-
ass.
That's what I'm saying. And like,
But
like,
that Chris Rock and Will Smith have to know each other pretty well.
That doesn't mean
both
they're
in the same
homies.
circles. Well, I guess that makes the
being a
difference.
celebrity
I
does
don't
not
know.
make you friends. They've done stuff together, like
well,
in the
but
90s
also
and
like
things,
the
but-
setting that they're in. Like, I mean, I looked at that and I don't disagree entirely with what you're trying to get at, but like the setting that they're in, the level of thinking he had to probably do in the moment. Like, I don't think Will Smith is, I don't know. Like, I would assume Will Smith could probably whip Chris Rock's ass. Probably. I don't know. Just because he's had all that training and shit. But there's like the setting. There's the we know each other. There's the what does this turn into if we start fighting? Like, that would look. I don't know how that would look. But like the way it looked to me, the way it happened was like it didn't make Chris Rock look like a bitch to me. But if it were to happen to me, like I said, it depends on, there's a few factors. First of all, can this guy totally fucking crush my ass? I'm not going to just jump right into it. There's probably a range though in which I'm like, it's maybe this guy could fuck me up, but I'm still willing to go for it, you know? But it also depends on if I know the person. And if I'm going to really fuck him up or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I could see, you know, somebody that I knew really well losing their shit and slapping me, and I would have to just, like, unless I felt like I was really injured, in which case I'm going to go into fight or flight, and depending on who it was, I'd probably go ahead and join the fight. But if it was like a slap, and I knew this person was having issues or whatever, I would probably, you know, I don't necessarily think I would jump right back into it, but I would be ready to if they wanted to continue. And in that instance, Will Smith, like, because he was already falling backwards and he like turns around and walks off all gangster, I wouldn't have like ran up to him and continued it or something. But
No,
I don't know. It's it's an interesting and funny conversation.
It's just interesting because there's instinct that sometimes you can't control, like, right? Like, I don't ever want to fight, but the second that I get hit, I am ready to fight.
You're prepared
you know what I mean?
to. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it.
Well, I'm not
like,
saying I wouldn't be prepared to, but would I make the next move?
No, but to your point, I'll play my raise a hypocrite part of the show, and I can see from what you're saying the professionalism that Chris Rock held on to by being the bigger man type of thing, right? And like, you know, just being like, I'm literally the host of a huge show. This is a great thing for me and my tour that's coming up. I'm going to be the professional here. He looks like an idiot, not me. Right? I could totally see I could see that end. I just don't know if I could actually pull that off. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's like,
yeah,
but then there's also,
and, hey, everything I'm saying is just like speculation of how I would be able to control my emotions in the moment too.
See, and
I don't
but then
know.
but then there's one of those things too where it's just like, it's like, it almost like took away Chris Rock's ability to now even apologize to her if like it really did upset her. Right? It's like the spectacle took away any kind of feelings you can actually have towards anything now. To where it's like, I feel like, let's say Chris Rock is like an actual nice human being and he found out that actually really hurt her. I could see him making like a huge like apology or like going to her place and like them doing, you know, like making a whole thing of like, I'm so sorry. Like, I would never want to offend you. I love you, blah, blah, blah. And like now that's not even possible. Like it became a joke, right? Like, which I don't know. There's something extra fucked up about that, you know? But I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll shut up.
I guess I kind of see what you're saying, but I don't know. I will say that like Nicole and I have already started using the joke. I was like, this sounds awful, but I was like, don't make me Will Smith your ass. And she said something. She was like, she said, don't make me Chris Rock your ass, which I don't know which one made more sense. I think they're both good though. I like that. I'm going to use that for probably at least the next 6 months.
Next time she says Ray, just be like, keep Ray's fucking name out your mouth. You know, like that's what you need to say.
Keep Ray's name out your fucking mouth. That's when I was like, oh, maybe this is real. All right, man. Let's jump on. What do you think? Did you have a chance to look at any of these? Since I just jumped right in.
You wrote down something, and I don't know who or what that is.
Well, you were talking. Oh, so Colby Covington is this MMA fighter. He might be the middleweight champion. I don't follow it as much as I used to, but basically he is the guy. I was gonna try to see what weight division he was in. Yeah, I think 170 is. I think that's middleweight. So anyway, he's like the biggest shit talker, and now the guy's a really good fighter, but he is the biggest shit talker, and he's the one that like he's like the pro-Trump MMA fighter. So he always wears like a "Make America Great Again" hat and all this. Anyway, you had mentioned something earlier because you kind of brought up like, did they do this on purpose? And it's like the Kanye, crazy thing. Well, this guy, he's got like this persona, and like what's funny, I don't know. I mean, funny isn't the right word. Just what's interesting is like everybody knows that he has the persona, and so he'll be on these like talk shows or whatever, like YouTube podcasts, and some are MMA things, or some of them are just like those big famous podcasts or whatever that have celebrities on them. And
so not like
they'll bring it up. They'll be like, not yet. We're at least 1,000 subscribers away. But they'll bring it up, but he won't ditch the persona. I mean, it's clearly like fake. I mean, there's like video footage of him like, because he'll always have these like chicks with him, and he'll be like, "Ain't that right, ladies? Like, who's the baddest motherfucker?" or some shit. It's like really over the top. And it is kind of obnoxious, but it actually, I'm okay. If it was real, I would definitely it would be far more obnoxious. It's slightly obnoxious, but it's kind of more fun because it's a persona, but he's to the point where he won't, it's like I don't know what he really thinks about it, but it's like he won't drop the persona. Like, he'll wear he started wearing gold chains and having his shirt completely unbuttoned with a suit on. And it's obnoxious and hilarious, but I don't hate it knowing that it's he's putting on an act.
Do you think it's
an
act?
But anyway.
Are you sure it's an act?
Well, it might be turning into not an act, and that's that's kind of an interesting idea.
This is what's interesting.
It is 100% an act.
As you were describing it, right? It made me think of a guy on Instagram, and then I was like, man, I can't think of this guy's name. So I typed out Instagram celebrity douche, and he popped up first thing.
Colby Covington?
No, Dan.
Oh, the guy.
Bilzerian.
Oh, Bilzerian? Yeah.
That's the persona that guy has put out into the world. And exactly what you were describing as this Colby guy was like. And I was like, oh, it's like maybe that's the play.
Dan, I think that guy I think he's actually like that now because he was like this poker player, right? Mm-hmm. Or do you know about that guy at all?
Yeah. I've watched some things on him, but I never end up, I hate him pretty much every time I watch anything.
Yeah, I don't know if I would hate him, but he lives a life that I'm not interested in, but I think that a lot of dudes think they would be interested in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
that guy's weird.
I don't know.
I think that guy's the real deal. He's that person.
He is.
This Colby Covington dude, he had 0 followership, 0 ratings. He was a good fighter, but somebody else talked about it. Joe Rogan he does an MMA show too, and it might have been his, but basically somebody talked about that where these dudes that are really humble, great. They're the greatest fighters ever, but there's they lack entertainment value aside from the great fight, the great fighting or whatever, the great sportsmanship or whatever. And I do think that that's part of it, right? And actually, when we were starting this fucking podcast, largely it was because there's a lot of great content out there, but hey, unfortunately, a lot of it's really fucking boring. And maybe we've kind of like, you know, gone too far to the other side where we barely talk about UX specific stuff, but we're trying to add like this, like a bit more of an entertainment value, and like use like the adult language and all that.
I completely disagree. I feel like what we're bringing to the table is real life UX that people ignore.
Now,
right? Like this is
we
a
don't
perfect.
have to get into that. I agree.
No,
I agree.
but this is a perfect example.
My point
right?
was.
Well, hold on. Like this is a perfect example. Like,
go ahead.
Essentially, if you are a UFC fighter, you are a product in the cog of like you're a cog in the wheel of the UFC.
Oh,
right.
Like where you're going
and the
here.
only way for you to stand out is to have a brand. Right? To have something that's special that makes you stand out from all of the other hundreds of thousands of people that are trying to do the exact same thing that you're doing. And what it made me think of, there's a whole breakdown of like old 80s WWE, WWF wrestlers.
Oh.
And that's what, like, have you watched like the Vince McMahon stuff and all that? Like the guy who started it all? Like,
I haven't watched that, but
like it's truly.
You know who Mark Bell is?
Mark Bell? Yeah. Didn't you send him in at the carnivore guy? But anyway, whatever, it's like the whole idea of wrestling is it's not about is it fake, is it real, is it whatever. It's entertainment, and you pick a person, a celebrity, a feeling, a vibe that is your person that you connect with, and that's who you become a fan of, and that's who you want to follow, and it's like you relate to, and like, dude, that, you know what I mean?
That you brought that up. So I've been doing a little traveling, as you know, like I was out of town. Like doing like some work stuff, but before that, at the end of last week, I took went down to the fun size party, which we talked about last time. But I don't know if I mentioned I took Essex to NASA, and so that's aside the point. We were staying in a hotel, and we're trying to find like we don't watch like normal channel TV, so we're like flipping through it, and there's like this WWE stuff going on, some wrestling. And, obviously you see this crazy nonsense. And so you stop for a second, and Nicole was like, how do people watch this shit? And then 15 minutes later, I was like, well, I guess that's how it happens. And we're fucking still watching this. It's so absurd and so dumb, but you're right.
No, it's a soap opera. It's like,
hey, there you go. No,
it is 100% a soap opera. And that's why, like, the formula of soap operas work, right? Like, it's just, like, crazy drama, crazy excitement. There's no pauses. It's just a constant, like, something crazy to something crazy where you're just, like, you can't look away, right? And, like, it's like this brilliant brain fuck, right, of, like, what it is, right? So it's like, but you can say that about anything that people hate. You're just like, oh, soap operas suck, and, oh, wrestling sucks. And I'm sure there's a million other, like, I don't know. There's a million other pieces that literally just follow that same craziness.
Oh, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Well, and this is pretty cliche sort of comment, but like the whole like you're doing something if you got haters, and I think that's pretty accurate.
What's your?
We need to get some more hate.
We need crazy wrestling personalities. Like we're gonna have to like step up our craziness and like do crazy things, and I'll throw shit.
Dude, I think this is true. I think people listening are gonna get to, if you hear this episode, we need to start to think through this fucking formula a little bit harder and get fucking bananas. Bananas.
Banana time.
Yeah. Okay, we'll think about that.
What
was your next? What were you about to bring up?
You wrote on here, golf guys in airports, and I just want to know what you're talking about.
I don't know if this story is even worth like telling, but it was great, dude. So I'm sitting in waiting for one of the planes to board, and I'm sitting next to this guy. So there was a certain point, so I'll go over and like find one of those little desk areas and plug in everything and try to like try to be productive. And then at a certain point, I do just like everybody else does. I start getting a little bit closer. And now I'm not the crazy ass who like has to be on first, because I'm just going to be sitting on there the whole time. But my goal is to be able to get be able to put my bag on and not have to check it, because they get to a certain point where it's capacity. And they're like, well, it's no fee. We're just going to put it under the plane. You're like, great. And I'm going to have to fucking wait 30 minutes or longer sometimes. just when I'm ready to leave the airport. So I was getting a little bit closer. And so, you know, everybody's still doing, people don't just naturally sit next to each other anymore unless they have to. There's like always a seat between. So like there's one seat next to this dude. And I was like, hey, would you mind if I sit right, you know, there next to you? He's like, oh no, all good. And then one of his buddies comes over, a younger guy, and they just start talking. And the guy's like, he was like, I can't remember exactly how the conversation was going, but basically he was like, there's no way this guy has fucking touched a club since I last saw him. And all he's going to do when we get together is bitch about how he fucking sucks at golf. And I'm like, yeah, dude, of course you suck at golf. There's no way you've even touched a golf club since I last saw you. And I just thought it was hilarious. These guys were going back and forth. And I even told them, I was like, sorry to be listening in, but like, you guys need a fucking podcast. It was hilarious. But it just made me think, like, because like, you know, there's a lot that made me think of a lot of things, but it's even like us doing, you know, this fucking podcast. Once we decided we were going to do it, we just started doing it. We got consistent. We just did it. We're doing it more. Certain things are getting better if we work on it. But even like I've heard people, even like as the, you know, like a mentor or a boss of a lot of people or whatever, you know, talk about things that like they wish they were better at. Not even in a work setting, just friends that, you know, they're like, oh, I wish I was better at this, without actually even fucking doing it. Like people will, you know, I've trained a few people or whatever, and I'm okay in shape, I guess. And so people will like ask me or whatever, and they'll talk a lot about like, oh man, I just can't seem to do this, or I can't seem to do this. I'm like, well, what are you doing? And they're like, well, nothing. I'm like, okay, well, like that's step one. I don't know what to say, but I don't know, man. I just thought it was funny. And I just like to keep that in even in my own head, even for me, it's just good to hear. Well, I don't mean to say even for me, like I'm fucking achieving everything, but like for the things that are hard, that, I mean, you and I both think about, you know, like different things are just difficult. It's like, all right, well, it's difficult. And even if it sucks when you do it, like just do it, just put time in doing it. And over time you start to accumulate the ability to do that better. And it's just something that's good to remember.
It is, but patience is extremely hard, right? Like I think that's the problem with anybody and everything, right?
Of course, that's like, the problem.
It's micro changes that after they add up, it's like you're fucking Warren Buffett talking about compounding interest, and in 20 years you're gonna be rich. You're like, but I want to be rich now.
Dude, you got exactly what I was putting down. Compounded interest. That's what I'm talking about. Like the not expecting to see results ever. Like get that expectation out of your head and just do the thing, and know when you look back, like you're going to be like, I'm glad I invested in that fucking IRA fucking 10 years ago. But like doing it at the time and putting money in it every time, it's like, man, fuck, I wish I could just use that money on something cooler.
Chick-fil-A.
But then once you've gotten through it, you're like, hell yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
No, I'm with you. It is demotivating.
Hey, we all have the things that we're good about and not good about.
No. But it's with anything, right? It's like you want to learn to play guitar, you want to get in shape, you want to like learn a sport, you want to do fucking anything. It's all of these tiny like micro things. But the problem is when you don't feel, and maybe it's an external thing and you need somebody else, but when you don't feel that you're making progress, that's what makes you just go, fuck it, I'm not making progress, I'm just going to go do something else, right? And it's like, how do you switch that? Like, how do you do that? You know what I mean? To where it's like whatever, if you're talking about golf, you know, it's like golf, I feel like is a good one because there's a measurement, there's a score, right? So you'd be like, has my score gone down one stroke, right? But like,
there's
you have to go
play. Anything though, isn't there?
I don't know. I mean, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's the setting the goal to what you're going to measure, right? Because it's like, I want to get in shape, but I don't really care what I weigh. So I don't really want to weigh myself. I just want to like look all sexy and shit, you know? And so, and that's the hard part. When you look at yourself every day, you don't see little minor changes, even if they're actually happening.
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah, for sure.
So
that's one of the things that you and I've done before. But like, so I started actually training another person Monday, a lady that lives on my street, and I don't want to say she's an older lady. She's just older than most of the people I've trained in the past, which means things are going to work a little bit different for her. But that was the first thing. I was like, hey, as much as you're not going to want to, you have to take the picture that you don't want to, you have to take a picture of yourself now and not trying to make yourself look good and all that. Just take this picture. And I said, and then you're not going to look at it for 2 weeks. And she was like, I don't really want to take the picture. And I was like, I know, that's the point. Like, it's a picture you're not going to like, but once you, and if you get demotivated or if you start to like lose motivation, hopefully you can stay motivated for 2 weeks. You see that, and then you're able to say like, shit, I'm actually making progress, that kind of thing, which, is also hard.
It's I don't know.
It's not as like objective, I guess.
No.
Like when you look in the mirror?
I'm thinking of it because it's like we've done this before, and like I've seen,
like
we've done the photo thing, and I've seen
you were motivated.
I've seen major crazy like changes, right? And then I don't know if it's like my brain is fucked up, but it's one of those things where it's like,
well, I know what you did.
I have no self-control. The second that it gets cut off once, I'm like, fuck it, it's over.
That's the problem.
It's done.
That's the problem. And you know why that happens? It's literally chemical makeup in your brain. Yeah. So as soon as you had because you were doing like crushing it before you went to Hawaii, and you looked drastically different. And then you were like, all right, I'm going to Hawaii, and I'm not going to like refrain from anything, which seems okay. But that just changed like the way you thought about everything without you knowing.
No, but
and then,
what's
like,
crazy
it was like
fucked
never
up is when I was in Hawaii, I didn't even eat bad. I ate great. Like I ate like fish. No, I didn't think about what I was gonna eat, but I picked things that were healthier because I'd been eating healthy shit. And now it was actually really good because it was all fresh and like straight from the ocean, and like it was a bunch of fruit and fish and things that
eat.
It's like you don't realize that you're just eating decent things. It's like, I might have had some pasta or something like while we were there, but like I wasn't thinking about it.
That's what did
And
it.
the problem is like, like you said, I brought that home. Like once I brought it home and I'm like, whatever, then it's like, now I'm like all kinds of fucked.
Then you didn't have all those healthy options.
But you know what? You're almost making me think though. It's like, it's almost like maybe you need 2 goals, because it's like I had a mini goal. The goal was for it to look okay in Hawaii, and I did that. Like I felt good about it when I was going to Hawaii, but I felt like I had reached my goal and I did it. I've accomplished. I'm done. Maybe it was just like I didn't have a second or like a bigger goal, and this was a mini goal inside of that goal. You know what I mean?
People are gonna hate it unless they listen to it, but that. You and me, we have our fanboy podcast, My First Million.
Yeah.
And Sean on there, he said the exact same thing, because he's like, the bigger guy trying to get in shape. And he said, he made them a greatest analogy in regards to that. He was like, it was like I was taking a trip, and I was taking a trip, and I stopped off at a gas station, and I unloaded all my luggage in my suitcases, as though that was it. As though I was at the final destination.
That is exactly how, like that. My compounding interest, like for your story, that was the perfect thing for me, because it was like, finally, like you're carrying all this shit, and then finally you're just like, let it go, and you're just like, yes, I'm fucking done.
Well, this is where I'm staying.
But no, that's dead on. So I don't know. There's something to that, and like. I don't know. We've talked about this before, but like I feel like we need to, like, it's like we've started on an app that was very much health based, and I still want to do that. But like I think there's a way there's a way we could simplify it to do these little things like what we're talking about right now, because it's almost like more personal. Like I just want it for me. Like I want, it's like you had a goal, right? Like you had a goal. You had a goal of like whatever you're 40, right? Like you just wanted to have a 6-pack when you're 40, right? And like so that's like a big goal. It took a lot of little goals to get to that, right? Like, because that's nutrition, that's working out.
I told you what I had to do to achieve that, right?
No.
I mean, not in terms of like all my nutrition, but like from a psychological, how I got myself to actually achieve that wasn't necessarily. Well, it did have some to do with what I did, but what gave me the ultimate motivation is that I set a reverse chronological calendar when I turned 39, meaning like how many days do I have before I turn 40. And one of my first checkpoints was close to like what would be a quarter of the way in Q1, and I was not making the progress that I wanted to make. And I was basically like, if I look at the trajectory of this, it's like I'm not going to hit my goals. And so once I realized that, that's when I fucking kind of went bonkers. And I really like, I don't know. I was just really like, I just talked too much shit. I think the other good thing was that I told everybody that I was like, I'm going to get jacked. I'm going to be jacked when I'm 40.
You had the accountability thing.
Yeah. Like a lot of accountability. Even with this podcast, when we were first talking about it, you and I were like, we're doing a podcast. We're doing a podcast. It's like,
oh yeah.
Okay, well, we're not gonna not do a fucking podcast now.
Well, no. I mean that part's true because it's like I'll say yes to whatever. Like let's do it. But it's like it takes us actually like boots on the ground. Actually, we need some kind of motivation to like make it happen.
I think you're right though. I think there's something to that. I don't think we have to figure it out right now. But that's a pretty interesting thought. Like one goal just isn't enough. Because then when you see like progress that makes you happy. And this, I assume this applies to lots of things, but it's really easy because we're talking in the context of like, dieting and nutrition and hitting like those types of goals where you get to a point where you're like, fuck yeah, I'm doing great. I'm going to go ahead and reward myself. That was another interesting thing. So so I wrote up this little plan for my neighbor. And one of the things talks about like, it's like alcohol or whatever. And it's like, decide what you're going to do now. Cause people in my street all just drink. Like we all get together and just drink. And I'm like the guy who would assume I'm like the wildest, craziest one. And I'm like the one trying to, drink the least. Cause I'm like, Jesus, you guys rage. But,
I was at your house for that one party and I was like, holy shit, these people drink.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
no, I'm with you.
They get down. So, and her husband was there with me and he was super cool. And he's like, well, what about if it's like a party or something? I said, well, this is a 6-week plan. And I said, there's always a party. There's always a reason to celebrate. And if you give yourself the allowance to have, excuse isn't the right word. It kind of is the right word, but like, if you give yourself an opportunity to break your fuck, I'm really fucking up trying to say this right now, but like there's always going to be an opportunity, whether it's, it was a hard day at work. Today's going to be the day. I'm really stressed out. Or, hey, so-and-so's birthday party. Or, hey, it's the weekend. Or, they're going to get easier to just cheat because also like the chemical brain, the chemicals that are going on in your brain when you're not sticking to your shit tell you like, don't worry about it. You're good. Just, go ahead and do that. You're fine. You can do this tomorrow or whatever. And so basically what I told them was like, for 6 weeks, I don't care if you're going to a party or whatever. Like if you decide, that's your decision, but if you decide you're not going to, then we're not going to. Like, okay.
It's different in my head. Like it's totally an excuse, right? But this is the mental thing that goes on in my head with exactly what you're talking about, where it's like, where I start feeling like I'm neglecting myself, right? Like where I'm like, well, but now I'm missing out on the things that I actually enjoy and I like, and now I'm not able to have those things, and like that's not sustainable for me because it's like I'm gonna always enjoy those things, and like that's the mental fight that's going on in my head, where it's like, yeah, but I want to be, I want to be fit, but I also don't want to like miss out and not enjoy the life that I have. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so,
which when you step back and you think about it, like, it's like, is that the only thing you enjoy? And are those things always going to be gone or whatever? It's kind of a funny way, like, but it's not necessarily the way you really think. It's your brain desiring those things in a moment that give you all these reasons to have
I feel like exceptions. You are like the perfect person. Not that you were ever like unhealthy.
Oh, sweet.
You weren't ever like fat or anything like that. But like you're almost like changing the way that I see health in my head. Meaning like, cause it's like right now it's like, I mean, you went from like crazy ripped and buff and now you're still like pretty buff and and like, but like
a little bit softer.
But I feel like but like I'm not saying for that. I'm saying it, but now like you don't overthink it. You're just like, yeah, we're out doing something, so I had a drink, or yeah, like we went to an ice cream place, so I had some ice cream. Like like it's almost like maybe I've been thinking about it wrong. It's more like you're not missing out on all that stuff to get this. It's like, but once you get that, then now you can sprinkle in those things without it affecting your whole body, you know?
Yeah.
Like you can't
totally.
get there with it, but once you have it, you can enjoy the other things. It is easier to sustain. Well. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So, I don't know. Yeah. This is another one of those things they need to teach in school.
This is the nutrition and diet episode.
Yeah.
Well, hey, let's talk about one more thing. I have to bounce in about 15 minutes, but we can jump into one more thing.
I am going to Mexico like really soon, so the nutrition show is actually good for me probably.
Oh, sweet.
Where are we in? March, April.
Yeah, we'll get started.
We leave into May. I got 2 months.
Right now?
I got 2 months.
I just started Monday. Okay, cool. We'll catch up after the show.
All right.
Let's make it happen. Okay. What topic? Let's get one more in here.
You wrote talking on the phone.
This could be.
What does that mean? Oh yeah, Billboards. Let's do that one.
That's one of those really shitty ones. Yeah, let's do that one. So, we've joked around about this before, but literally yesterday I'm driving into the city, and I realize every billboard now, most of them are like for legal, like traffic shit, I guess, because you're sitting in traffic or whatever. But they've all got a guy's face, and they all have like some fucking statement or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's really funny. The one that made me say like, dude, we got to talk about this shit is there's one with this guy, and he's got this like mean scowl on his face, and it's like $50 million. I got this guy $50 million, and he just looks mean as shit. And he's like, slightly older guy. It looks like he has gray hair, even though it's in black and white. It just that's the appearance it's giving me. And but his eyes are all like, and then you remember there's like Jim Adler, the tough, smart lawyer. I know. And then there's another one who's this guy. I can't remember his name, but he has this like really goofy smile, but like he doesn't necessarily build like a ton of confidence in me, but I'm not going to forget his face. Like it's stuck in my head because it's a goober. He looks like a goober sort of, but I bet you he's probably okay. Like, and then there's like this one that's called like the car wreck cowboy, which is really funny because his name is like, he's like, Middle Eastern of some sort. I don't know. But it's like his name is like Mahmoud or something, which is kind of funny because it's like he could probably like pull off being Mexican, but his name definitely like doesn't just roll off the tongue of a Texan.
So I know exactly which billboard you're talking about, and this is the interesting thing that I thought was.
Oh yeah, we drive in the same direction.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's not just that these are lawyer crazy infomercial type billboards. There's a billboard battle going on each side of the highway, because this guy over here is saying I've paid out this much money, and this one over here is going, well, fuck you.
I noticed that.
I have paid out this much money. So which one do you want? Do you want the one with the bigger number or the smaller number? And so I guarantee like next month when they're fucking shit, it's going to be another one and the number is going to change. And so
I wish they were actually like facing each other from each side.
No. And so it's almost like I saw this. I saw those like a month or so ago, and it got me thinking. I was like, it's almost a brilliant marketing thing where it's like, I'm imagining, I don't know, that billboard prices have probably gone down. No. I'm thinking that billboard prices have probably gone down.
I get you.
And so instead of battling for price on like Facebook ads and other things like that people are going to spend money on, this is like a new form that's got a bunch of eyeballs, and it's like TV commercials don't work anymore because people don't even have cable, and so it's like this is like a new form of like creating some kind of controversy,
I love how you're saying it's like a new form.
A new twist on an old form is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's really interesting because it's like
dude, I want to get those same two billboards we're talking about, and on one side I wanted to say fuck Ray Hernandez, Steve Ray is the shit, and on the other side it says fuck Steve Ray, Ray Hernandez is shit. We're just facing each other with really pissed off glares.
There was a I'm trying to,
I've got you thinking.
No, it reminded me of when I was in California. There was this awesome ad campaign, and it was like, I think it was like Cadillac and BMW, right? So Cadillac came out with this like new car, and they had written like whatever, it had like a chess piece on it, and it was like, your move, BMW. And literally BMW bought the billboard directly next to it, and they put their new car, and it just said checkmate. And I was like, that is fucking money. They just shit on their ad by like fucking like totally winning the game, like right there next to them. And now everyone's going to see that both of those ads and that this one's losing, you know, the game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just thought that was so fucking brilliant. So I don't know. I love shit like
dueling
that.
billboards. Yeah.
Which is I mean,
know,
totally old coming back. Like, do you know the story of like the Gillette billboards and all that kind of shit from like the 50s?
Oh, no.
Okay, so like,
I don't think so.
So when billboards first came out, people didn't know what to do with them. They were just like a sticker, basically, right? It was like words, right? Because you didn't have like fancy printing and all this kind of stuff, right? And so, and they were like hand painted. They were like literally like someone out there like hand doing this. And so there was this huge strip of desert going from like probably like from Nevada through to California and all that kind of stuff, like that you drive on the 10, right? And nobody wanted to put anything there. And so Gillette bought billboards, like there's one like every mile, like pretty much all the way. And they made like an entire, almost like a TV commercial where it was like, are you tired of razor bumps? And then you drive for another few miles, and it's like, well, Gillette can fix all that for you. And I'm getting the words wrong, but it was literally like you were driving in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing to see, and now you're like looking forward to what the next billboard is going to be, because it's like you're reading a storybook as you're driving down the road. And it was like, it was fucking brilliant. It was, I don't know. There's just something about that that's always like stuck with me. I love it. That I don't know. It seems so fucking cool. And so this is truly like another way of that coming back. Like even like, do you remember in Deep Ellum, back before when there used to be the tunnel in Deep Ellum where Felix the cat was in there? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, where was that?
When I was a kid, it's where the DART station is now in Deep Ellum. That used to be a tunnel that went underground. And my dad used to drive me there when I was a kid, because there was like on every column there was a different animation of Felix the cat like running.
I completely forgot.
And so my dad would like drive through that really fast, and you'd like watch him. And it always made me wonder, like, you know, like the concrete siding, like on like the divider, like in a highway or something like that. I get that it's probably fucking distracting, and that's not why they would do this. But it's like a perfect place to put like moving like stills of like a commercial for an ad while you're like driving by. Or like maybe even a subway, because you're not driving, like something that's just like and you're like seeing it like go by. I don't know. That always seemed like a wasted opportunity to me. I don't know why I've thought about that for so long, but maybe I just need to do it. Just buy a bunch of.
And actually, I do remember the Felix thing. Like it was still like that when I moved to Dallas. I completely forgot about it.
Yeah, it was a sad day when they got rid of that for me. That was like my childhood getting all fucking ripped over.
I'm gonna have to Google that.
Yeah. Billboards. We're getting a billboard.
Well, sweet, man. We're gonna be. I you know what? Honestly, it's one of the, it's like a stupid goal that I don't have any sort of like business value behind. I mean, yeah, I think there would be maybe some business value of like, you know, getting some notoriety.
To me, it's better if there is.
But it's more so just like. Well, but the point is really that doesn't mean anything. I just want a fucking billboard. We're gonna get a fucking billboard.
I want a billboard, and I want an
first money we get, the first sponsorship money.
I want that infomercial style explosion.
Well, we've talked about it,
which is the same thing. This
don't
is
give
all
too much.
This is all just part of the same campaign, though. Is what I'm saying. It's like I want the video with the billboards, and then we got to think of some other thing.
Oh yeah,
where we like papered the streets or something, like something fucking old school, you know.
And it leads you to literally like nothing.
Yeah, just a website that just says hello.
Hope you enjoyed our campaign.
Yeah. Have a great day. Bye.
Sweet.
Or it says the opposite. Right, man, it's like, fuck off.
Yeah. How'd you get here? Oh, God. This is just giving me more ideas to talk about.
You've just been hacked.
I do got to wrap it up. But
fine. Just leave me here. Fine.
I know, man.
I know.
Well, this is partly due to you saying, does 12 o'clock work? And I was like, yeah, sure.
I know.
And then 12:15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Okay, so I know you have to leave, but this was weird. Like I almost like I felt weird, even though we're not in the same room. I felt like I'd been drinking coffee and like I felt like I needed to shower. So I felt like I needed to brush my teeth and take a shower to talk to you. Like it was just weird, right? Because you're not like, smelling my breath disgusting. Right now. You know? So, but I don't know. I felt like I needed to be clean for you. So you're welcome.
You look fantastic.
No, thanks.
Thanks for caring. All right, man. Well, hey, give them the spiel. What do we want?
Like some shit, subscribe to some shit, comment with some shit, please.
I like it. Cool. All right. Well, with that, I'm Stephen Ray.
Ray Hernandez.
Deuces.
Later.